Hey UMD, you guys know that I love following the news and I love science and social studies. So here is your first science, social studies, current events, news lesson. You also probably remember that I really love podcasts. And one of my favorite lessons from this year was when we listened to that podcast called The Daily. And we heard that kid interviewing the New York Times reporter and journalist about what the impeachment of Donald Trump was all about. Remember that lesson? It was really fun. You guys learned so much, and I was so impressed with how much you understood. And then it was so cool that the next week we went to visit the outside of the White House, and you all knew so much about what was going on with Donald Trump and the impeachment. And it was like everything that was happening in our real life right there, we had already learned about. So it's really important to me that during this time, you guys are learning a little bit more about why we're out of school and what this coronavirus is. So remember in class, we already watched that Brain Pop about coronavirus. Remember, you can always go to Brain Pop from your Clever login or just brainpop.com. Remember, the password and username are the same, PS161. And you can watch that coronavirus video again. Maybe you want to show some people in your family or siblings or something. But anyway, I have another podcast for you here today from The Daily. That's that podcast I love to listen to. It's from the New York Times, one of the most famous newspapers in the country, in the world, actually. And I'm going to show you how you can get to the podcast, how you can listen to it, read it, like read along with it. Remember when we did the impeachment podcast, you guys read along with it as we listen. It helped us to really understand. And then there is an assignment with questions. So I hope you like it. Here we go. All right. Underneath the video, you should see a link to this website, the New York Times. And then we're looking at the podcast from March 27th this year, last week. And it's called A Kid's Guide to Coronavirus. So once you get to that website, you'll see a little play button. You can listen to it. And then if you click transcript, that's what it means when they type all the words that are said in the interview. So we'll go to the transcript page, and you can actually press play right here from this spot as well. That's how I like to do it, so that you can read and listen along and then easily come up there to pause if you want to. So I'm going to just have it play for a minute so you can hear what it should sound like. It doesn't exactly start with the question about coronavirus, so just make sure you're on the right page.
I want to end with what feels like the essential question.
Oops, sorry, that's the ending. Let me go back to the beginning. There we go. Make sure you got that all over there. Here we go.
Carl, okay, just so we can line up our audio files, we're going to simultaneously clap.
You can follow
okay.
along.
Carl, do you want to do the count? Who? Me? Yes, I'm designating you as the counter. Okay. All right, I will be the counter. 1, 2, 3. We missed our claps were off. Okay, on 3, all right? On 3. 1, 2, 3. I don't understand this at all. I think we got it. I think that was great.
Okay, here we go.
From the New York Times, I'm Michael Barbaro. Hi.
Wait. Hi.
This is The Daily.
Hello. Hi.
For the last week, we've been getting a lot of questions from kids all around the country.
I just turned 6 on Monday, and I'm from New York City, Denver, Colorado, Tucson, Arizona.
About the coronavirus.
Is it the worst virus ever? Was this inevitable? How long does it last on a basketball? Why are people so scared?
Today, we tackle those questions with science writer Carl Zimmer. It's Friday, March 27th.
Okay, so now you know how to listen to the podcast. And as you're listening, I hope that you follow along and read the transcript. Because again, I think it's not only really good reading practice, you're going to learn a lot of new vocabulary words in this podcast. And also, it just helps you understand it. So after you're done listening, go over to Teams. And there's a new assignment under there. It's called A Kid's Guide to Coronavirus, Podcasts and Questions. And when you click it, it should look like this. There is a link to the video that you're watching now. podcast again. And then several multiple choice questions. Most of them are multiple choice questions with 2 answer choices. Be careful because one of them asks you to choose all that apply. So remember, that means that there can be more than one. And then there are 2 short answers, and I want you to try to use race. So go back to that website to look at the text. You guys have gotten really good at race and using evidence in text. So I know that coronavirus is scary, and it's pretty sad that it's making all of us not be able to go to school and so many people not to be able to go to work. But it's important to understand what is going on with the virus in our body. And this podcast, I think, does a great job of it. So let me know what you think of it. I hope you like it. All right, bye.